Hello everyone, welcome to Simply Speaking, a podcast where I delve into topics surrounding life experiences and popular trends while analyzing human behavior. I'm your host, Fifi Hudson. I'll be uploading new episodes every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Let's get into it. Hello. So today's episode, we are going to talk about managing stress. So we know that human behavior dictates that we strive for what is easiest. So when we feel overwhelmed or stressed, our body will respond negatively because it's not experiencing whatever is easiest or calm. So we might get headaches, we might get stomach aches, we might break out in sweats, we might start to shake, our hearts may beat faster, our blood pressure may rise, and in extreme cases, we can get strokes, heart attacks. So it's really important for our overall health to manage our stress, and today we'll be discussing ways in which we can identify stress, decipher why we might feel this type of stress, discuss ways to counteract stress, as well as how to relieve stress and to get outside help for managing our stress. And I'll also be adding in some of my personal experiences. Let's go. So the first step to managing stress is identifying our stressors. So every time we feel stress, we should pause and think about what would cause it. Is it a current situation that is happening now? Did something happen today that triggered you in some way? Or is it something that has already happened? Like maybe it's something that happened a couple weeks ago and you're having a delayed response now and the stress is creeping upon you now. Or it could be something that is about to happen. You have a deadline to meet. You have an exam. You're about to be a parent in a couple weeks. All kinds of things can cause stress. And if it's not a situation, perhaps it might be a person that is causing you stress. Is it a bully? Is it a manager? Is it a coworker? Is it a friend? Is it a parent? Is somebody constantly triggering you and adding stress to your life? So each time you feel stress, it's important to try to document it, whether you take a mental note or you physically write it down or type it out on your phone. And when you're reflecting over your stressors, you have it in mind that, hey, I see a pattern or a trend here. And you'll be able to identify what causes stress. Step 2 is decipher why we may feel stress from these stressors. Is it the situation or the person bringing you anxiety? Are they making you anxious? Are they making you nervous? Is the stress due to, again, nerves or fear? Like, are you afraid of what's about to happen? Are you afraid about the impact of what has already happened? Or are you afraid about what's happening right now? Is it stress due to failure? Did you mess up somewhere and now you're reflecting and thinking about it over and over and stressing yourself out and wishing things were different? Is it stress due to embarrassment? Did you go through a situation and you feel embarrassed after, and now you're worried and stressed over it? It's important to analyze and reflect about the why. So the third step is to counteract the stress by changing our mindset and our attitude towards it. So we got to think positively about the situation or the individual. Focus on the individual's good traits and good qualities rather than their bad qualities. Focus on the positives out of the situation rather than the negatives. Like, what are the good things that happen from the situation? Or how can I do this situation differently going forward? What have I learned from the bad things that may have happened? You can also choose the most appropriate response instead of acting out negatively. So don't lash out at other people due to stress. Don't shut down and isolate yourself due to stress. It's good to take a moment to step back and then collect your thoughts, and then present yourself once more. It's also good to take a step back from the person, give them space, give yourself space to sort through your thoughts and what you're going through before you approach them again about how they made you feel or what they've done. Another thing that's important when changing our mindset is not to give in to negative emotions and feelings. Like if you feel like you're a failure, if you feel like you're about to fail, or if you feel embarrassed, or if you feel anxious, don't let those emotions and feelings consume you, because they're feelings. Feelings come and go. You should instead look at it as a way you're going through a hard time right now, but it's going to help make you stronger. It's going to help develop your character. You're going to have things like more patience, endurance, diligence, persistence after you go through the situation. And also you can see that hardship allows for a great testimony of what you overcome. So when you actually go through something that's hard, you know that you are strong and you can come out on top of things, and you can testify about how you overcame that situation. And the last thing in terms of changing your mindset is being open to receiving help, which I will go into further later on. The fourth step is to partake in activities that relieve stress. So doing physical activity is probably the number one way to relieve stress. It'll release endorphins, which is the hormones that make you happy, more pleasant, more calm, more relaxed. So if you want to do sports, if you want to do outdoor activities, if you want to go to the gym, whatever you can do to get physical activity and get those endorphins released into your system, definitely do it. Another thing is housework. Cleaning, laundry, gardening, organizing. Why? Because a clean environment, a clean space allows your mind to be at ease. When you walk into a room and it's clean, you feel at peace, you feel calm. When you walk into a room and it's cluttered, it's messy, it's dirty, it adds to your stress. It doesn't take away from your stress. So it's important to have a clean, organized, just a fresh environment for you to walk in and be at peace. Third thing is doing a fun activity. So read a good book, watch a funny show, build something, woodworking, pottery, metalworking. Do something that you enjoy that's fun for you. Fourthly, a calming activity. So drawing or painting. You could pray, read your Bible. You could take a bath, go in the hot tub. You can get a massage. And finally, doing breathing exercises. So taking deep breaths and breathing in and out and that sort of thing. All these different activities can help you to relax more and to relieve your stress. The fifth and final step to managing stress is seeking professional or outside help. So before you can even seek the outside help or professional help, you have to be open to that help. So you need to be willing to receive advice, instruction, criticism, feedback. You need to be willing to receive those things. You shouldn't shoot down ideas given to you unless they're actually dangerous or detrimental to your overall well-being. You got to have a positive attitude, not a negative attitude towards the process. And you have to be willing to make changes on yourself in order for the help to be effective. So, one group would be family and friends. You can spend time with them. You can ask them for advice, especially parents or grandparents and aunts and uncles, or friends that are older, people that are in your life that are older because they've lived longer, they've had more life experience. So they can give you advice and tips and pointers on how to handle your stress or how to deal with certain stressful situations. Another source of help is therapy or counseling. Talk to somebody and they can give you the tools that you need in order to change your mindset, change your attitude, and deal with situations as they arise. Another source would be your doctors and your healthcare providers. So your family doctors, they can prescribe medications. Naturopaths, they can come at it from a holistic point of view and provide you with foods and diets and supplements and things that will help with your stress. Massage therapy, really good, especially if you have a lot of tension in your body. And of course, chiropractors, same thing in your back and in your spine. It's really, really good for that. So your healthcare team is of the utmost importance as well, especially if your stress is manifesting more physical. Another group would be your religious leaders or communities. You can talk to somebody, your pastor, ask them to pray for you. Also, you can ask your fellow brethren, I should say church people, to pray for you. And I find, for me personally, worship helps to relieve stress. So whether you're worshiping by yourself or you're worshiping corporately, so in a large group, so in your church congregation, there's a certain level of joy and peace when you worship. So when you're feeling stressed, all your worries and concerns in that moment as you're worshiping are on the back burner, and you're concentrating on worship, and you're focusing your mind, and you feel at peace. There's a certain joy that comes when you worship the Lord. So it's hard to describe unless you've experienced it, but yeah, I find worship really helps with stress, because I felt stressed and overwhelmed many, many times, and when I worship, things just calm down. So again, your religious communities, it's very, very important. And then you have your support groups for specific situations. Maybe you're a new mom or a single parent. Maybe you're going through grief and that's adding to stress in your life. Maybe you have an addiction and it's adding to stress in your life. There's all kinds of support groups out there for different situations and circumstances. And it's important to be able to talk to people who know exactly what you're going through, and they can give you tips and tricks about how they deal with certain situations pertaining to that common issue that you all have. Alrighty, so what are my experiences with dealing with stress? Well, for starters, I'm not a person who handles stress well. That's something I'm definitely still working on. And yeah, it's a process day by day. So let's get into some stories. So one that comes to mind was my final year of university. I had one course. The prof was very, very difficult. The course was very, very difficult. And I was studying for the final. And yeah, I was like, I don't know about this one. I really don't know. And I tried studying on my own. I tried studying with this one other girl. And yeah, it wasn't really working out the way I wanted it to. And so my stress and my anxiety levels started rising. And so I was like trying to persevere and push through, and I continued studying with the girl during the exam period. And she said to me, well, I guess I'll see you next year. And I was like, nope. In my mind, I was like, no. And my heart started pounding. I was very upset. I was very agitated. I was very anxious. And so that night, I knelt down beside my bed and I prayed. And I called out to God, and I prayed hard, and I begged him to help me. Because there was no way that I was going back for another year. I was like, I've already been in this for longer than expected. I do not want to be in this for any longer than I have to be. I gave this semester my best shot. I don't want one course to stop me from finishing. And so I prayed really, really hard. My mom noticed I was praying, and she came in and was there supporting me, praying with me. And then the exam day came. It was a very stressful exam. And after completing it, I was like, well, the first half, I don't know, but the second half, there's hope. And what's really silly about exams during COVID time is they will make you complete the exam in sections and you can't flip back and forth. Versus like when you're in person, you have the whole entire exam paper in front of you. You can flip back and forth between questions. So sometimes one question can help you solve another question if you have an idea and if they're similar. But that was not the case. You have to finish the first part, then the second part, then the third part, or if it's just part 1 and 2. You just have to do things in sequence, and it was so annoying. And they monitored everything, which makes sense because it's online. But it was just, that also added to my stress and anxiety, because if you accidentally submitted something in the wrong spot, they might be like, oh, you get a 0, if they're being really mean. So all of that added to my stress, to my anxiety. And so when I completed the exam, I was like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, no, I don't think I did it. Nope, I don't know. And finally, the marks were out. I was like, Mom, I can't look. I show her the phone, and she just started screaming, and then I started screaming, then I look, oh my goodness, like, and I passed the class, and I was like, I did more than just pass, but there was so much joy and so much relief because my prayer was answered. And of course, my dad was looking at us like we were extra, like he always does. But prayer works. It's great for stress management, and it allowed me to calm down and write the exam to the best of my abilities, and I came out on top. So that's definitely one experience that I've had. Another situation I had was at work. This isn't recently. This was from a couple years ago. My boss was away. I believe she was on vacation. I think she had some family coming in town from out of the country, and so she wanted to spend time with them. So she took I think it was at least a week off. And because she wasn't there wasn't anyone like looking out for me or guiding me. So I was a bit anxious, but I was doing the best that I could. And then there were certain questions that I didn't know the answers to. So I started to feel anxious. I started to feel nervous, and my stress levels slowly, they just started to rise more and more each day until one day I was on the phone with her boss, because when my boss is not there, her boss is in charge, right? And he was very cold and a bit condescending, and yeah, that day it was a lot. And I actually cried in the office, and people saw me cry, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, I'm an adult, why am I crying? But, sometimes it happens. Every once in a while it happens, and I guess because I was young, like, as a student, they didn't really judge me too harshly, I don't think, but whether they judge me or not, that's besides the point. It was a stressful situation, and I didn't really know how to cope, and so I broke down. However, they did jump in and try to help me as best as possible, which I did appreciate. The secretary and the manager as well, they jumped in and tried to help me, which was really, really nice. And I think somebody wants to talk to my boss. When she came back, she was like, okay, what do you want me to go over with you so that you're more comfortable. I think somebody must have pulled her aside and told her what happened because, yeah, she's like, okay, we need to figure some stuff out. But yes, I just wanted to tell this story because sometimes you get overwhelmed and you cry. You gotta pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move forward. Yes, it's embarrassing. Yes, it's humiliating. But it's a good lesson to learn that, hey, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling really stressed, take a step back, pause, collect yourself. If you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom and cry, and just do your best. Especially when you're a student and you're working, do your best. Like, they usually don't fire student employees, like co-ops, interns. They don't get rid of their internships. They usually try to help you as best as possible. Unless you're doing something that's extremely shady or illegal, they're not going to get rid of you. They won't hire you back if you do a poor job, but for the most part, they're not going to get rid of you. So it's just important to try your best and to learn as much as you possibly can and not come from a place of too much emotion, but rather just look at the facts, think a little bit more logically, and when you need to go cry, just excuse yourself and go cry. When you're feeling overwhelmed, say, hey, I'm really overwhelmed. Can we slow down a little bit? And just stand up for yourself a little bit and let your voice be heard. So, yeah, that was that experience. Alrighty, so the last experience that I want to cover is a bit more recent. So, actually happened last week and in the weeks coming up to the beginning of Black History Month. So, it's this month, February, and I was doing a presentation for church, and I was the first one to go. I'm trying to set the example as the leader of the group, so I'm trying to go before everybody and, just be bold rather than be anxious and nervous and afraid. So it's like, I'm going to do it. I want to set the tone. I want to set the example. Let me just do it. I was struggling with a topic for weeks, and I normally don't like doing last-minute work, but when you are struggling, when you're flip-flopping, you end up doing last-minute work. And so I don't like doing last-minute work because why? It stresses me out. So you can imagine my stress when the night before I was like, I don't have anything. This is trash. I don't like this. What is this? What is my topic? And so finally I settled on the topic. I ended up talking about the Black church. And even right before, a few hours before, I was like, I don't like this presentation, but it is what it is. Time is of the essence. I got to present something. And it turned out very well. Everyone's like, wow, I learned some stuff that I didn't even know about. Wow, this was a really good discussion at the end. Wow, I really, really like the way you laid things out. Can you send me your notes? Can you send me your slides? And I'm like, what? So I was stressing out for nothing. But the point is, I completed the task. And I just left it alone. Sometimes you just got to complete the task and leave it alone and just take it one step at a time. I didn't go in presenting with a defeated attitude. I went in presenting how I would normally present and just gave it my best shot, despite me feeling that it was not my best work. And it worked out fine. I also prayed about it, so obviously some divine intervention was taking place there. But yeah, it worked out fine. Sometimes you might not feel that it's your best, but it was the best that you could do at the time. And guess what? It can be enough. Sometimes I underestimate myself, but guess what? It's enough. And not even it's enough, it's more than enough. And people enjoy it and people like it. So don't doubt yourself. Don't lack confidence in yourself. Try to have more confidence in yourself, because when you lack confidence, that also adds to your stress. So to summarize, identify your stressors and why they might be causing you stress. Don't allow the stress to consume you, but change your mindset and have a more positive outlook. Stress can help develop your character when managed correctly. There are many different ways to relieve stress, different activities that you can do, whether physical or more artistic, something calming, something peaceful. There's so many different avenues. You can also seek help. Don't be afraid to seek outside help and be open to the process of change. Thank you. This ends another episode of Simply Speaking. I'm your host, Fifi Hudson. Thank you all for listening. See you all soon.